Hi guys, welcome to Lunch Guide. I'm your host and chef, Sheena Amario. Today I'm going to be taking you to parts of Asia, Thailand to be specific, but it is an Asian dish because I'm using a mixture of spices. So what we're making today is an Asian beef lettuce cup, and what all that is, don't worry about the jargon here, what all that is some mincemeat, then usually that you put like in a lettuce, but instead of putting it like the lettuce, chopping it and whatnot, so we're going to get some red cabbage and your regular lettuce here, and then we're just going to put our mincemeat inside, and that's why I'm calling it a lettuce cup. So to get started with the ingredients, we're going to be using some black pepper, some salt, some red curry paste. Now this is considered to be a Thailand paste, and then we're also going to be using some cashew nuts, some sweet chili sauce, some teriyaki sauce, and then some oil. The oil I'm using here is sunflower oil, and then your mince, I'm using beef mince, but you can use chicken or lamb mince. And then our vegetables today are going to be some carrots, some capsicums, you know I love my color, as well as some spring onions, which I've just gone ahead and chopped here. And then we're going to be using some ginger and garlic, as well as some lemon for that freshness. And then we're going to be using some dania, and of course, like I've mentioned, your lettuce. So I'm going to be using lettuce as well as red cabbage. So we just have a regular green lettuce here, and then the red cabbage. So that's going to be our main dish for today. So to get started, what I want to do is just toss off my cashew nuts. So for the cashew nuts, I'm just going to go ahead and toss them. Now the cashew nuts here, if you don't have cashew nuts, you could use peanuts if you wanted to. So I'm just going to put on my pan here so we can toss my cashew nuts. And this is not something that's going to take long, and the reason that I toast my cashew nuts is just because I always buy my cashew nuts when they're nice and raw. But if you do buy them from the supermarket whereby they're not raw, then usually they're already roasted for you, because you'll get them like in the packet and it says roasted peanuts or roasted cashew nuts, roasted salted. You get my point. So if you're not buying that and you're buying it when it comes and it's packet and it doesn't say anything, usually it's raw. So that's why I like to go ahead and just toss them. And the easiest way to do that is just use it, just toss it in the pan. So that's what I usually like to do, but you could go ahead and just toss it in the oven as well. You could definitely do that. But just because I like to make things easy for you in the kitchen, I don't like to complicate them, so I'm just using a stove top here, just so that they can brown. And once these brown, we're going to go on a short break. So we're just going to give this a little bit of time so you can see the browning. So usually I like to make sure that my pan here is nice and dry, and that the reason for it to be being nice and dry is just because it's going to give this a nice color. So it's going to crisp up a little bit on the bottom, and it's going to give it a nice golden brown color. So you have to make sure your pan, for one, is definitely dry. And then you have to make sure your pan is a bit warm but not hot, because if it is hot, then it's going to burn your cashew nuts or your peanuts or whatever nuts you're using for that case. So I'm just going to go ahead and just give this a shake. Like I've said, I only want to give this a nice brownish color. I'm just spreading this out. So the cashew nuts here are a really great option for your salad, just because the salad is going to get this nice crunch to it. Like I've said, I'm making a lettuce wrap, which is basically like a lettuce cup, but instead of me going ahead and wrapping it, I'm going to leave it open so you can see all the things that are inside it. And so the reason of me adding the cashew is just to give it a nice crunch, because I like my food to have different textures, so I'm just putting in the crunch there. It's a crunch factor. There we are. So the smoking has just started, so I'm just going to go ahead and toss this. Remember, the pan is hot, so the more it sits on the pan, the more likely it is to burn. So you have to kind of like move around your pan. And you can see the browning. So I'm just going to go ahead and put off my heat. Like I said, I don't usually leave this for long. So once you see the nice browning there, give it another toss, and voila. So voila. So we're already done. So you can see the nice golden brown color that I'm talking about. It's already appeared. And then once that's done, what I like to do is just go ahead and take it off immediately from the pan, because the more it sits, the more it's going to darken. You don't want it to burn, like I've said. So once it's there, that's completely cooked. Take it aside. Then we're just going to let this cool off a little bit before I add them back to my container. So we're going to go on a short break. So when you guys come back, we'll start off on the main dish, which is the mince, and I'll be showing you guys how to do that. So see you after the break. Welcome back to Lunch Guide. I'm your host and chef, Sheena Amario. Today we're going to be making a lovely Asian dish, and the dish we're making today is Asian beef lettuce cups. And what I went ahead during the break and did was actually just toss in some cashew nuts, which I just toasted on my pan here, but then I made sure you could do it in the oven if you wanted to. And my cashew nuts have now cooled, so I was waiting for them to cool, and I mentioned all you want to do is just make sure they have this lovely brown color. And once that's done, you go ahead and just place them aside. And the reason I'm using the cashew nuts here is just to give my salad a nice little crunch. So we're going to go ahead and start with our mincemeat. So I'm just going to place those aside and then start with our mincemeat. So this dish, again, it's not very complicated. As you know, I like making very simple dishes. So this is one of those dishes. So I'm just going to go ahead and put on my pan so I can start it off, and then I'm going to be adding some oil. I'm using sunflower oil. Now you could use peanut oil if you wanted to, olive oil if you wanted to, but olive oil isn't very Asian, so if you are, maybe you could use something like a coconut oil, or just use a regular corn oil, whatever is available for you. So go ahead and just give that a swirl. Now whenever I'm making my mince, what I like to do is always start off with my mincemeat, because I like to give that a nice brown, so I usually don't add anything else in the pan. So again, always look for the sizzle. You know I'm all about the sizzle in the kitchen. So I'm just going to leave that there to start browning, and then in the meantime I'm going to go ahead and get my ginger and garlic and just give those a chop, as well as the other vegetables going in this. So the other vegetables I'm going to be using in there are going to be some spring onions as well as some capsicums. And the capsicums here are not going to be all the way fully cooked. So if you're just tuning in, we're making an Asian beef lettuce cups. And like I mentioned, all that is just the mincemeat that you're going to be making. So this is like a nice salad light dish for lunch. And it's very healthy as well, because again, there's no dense carbs in here. As you know, vegetables usually do have some carbs in them, but it's very little. So they're like the non-starchy carbohydrates, which is what we're using. So we're using vegetables here. So it's going to be very light and nice for your stomach. You're not going to feel bloated just because like after work you're going to have energy to continue on whatever it is you might have been working on. So whether it was like accounting, marketing, whatever it is, you'll have enough energy to resume. Oh, my heat has just gone off, so I'm just going to go ahead and put it on. I don't want it to be very high because I don't want to burn my mincemeat. So I always like to set my heat at somewhere like a medium. There we are. So when your mincemeat starts to soften, what I like to do is just go ahead and try and break it down, because like I've said, I'm trying to get my mincemeat here nice and golden brown before I can add the other vegetables. So this is what I like to do, just break it down lightly. And then once you've cut your capsicums, just set those aside because they're going to go in there with the spring onions that I went ahead and just chopped. Now spring onions, you can easily get them from the supermarket, or you can get them from the market, and this is what they usually look like when they're whole. So just go ahead and just grab one. And I like using them because they're used a lot like in Asian cuisine, and like I did say, I'm making an Asian inspired dish, so that's the main reason I'm getting them. So I'm just going to add some more. And the spring onions usually are not very strong in flavor compared to a regular red onion if you're Kenyan, since that's what we mostly use here. So all this is going to be added together. So I'm just going to place them there. Then I'm going to get my ginger and garlic. Now you know I love my garlic. So I'm going to be using quite an amount. And I'm going to be using ginger as well. So again, remember to give this a stir, your mincemeat. Remember, I'm just trying to get it to brown like that. So once everything else is nicely brown, because I can still see some pink in the meat. So it's not yet where I want it to be just yet. And the reason for this is just because it gives your meat a nice flavor. So that's the main reason why I like to brown my meat first. So this principle also applies like if you're making mincemeat for, let's say like a bolognese, which is the Italian sauce that most times you have with like pasta, spaghetti bolognese. Yes. So you'll do the same thing. You'll brown your meat first and then add your other ingredients like your tomatoes, onions, garlic, whatever ingredients you're using. So here I'm just trying to chop my ginger and garlic. Like I've mentioned, I'm using quite a good amount of the ginger and garlic. And garlic, if you're not ginger, if you're not aware, always gives your food a bit of a nice kick. So it usually has a bit of a spice to it. So I always mention, if you're not too familiar with a certain dish, my advice is always use less of it so that you can try it out, see if you like it, and then if you do, next time use a lot. So this is looking good. My mince is looking good as well. I can hear it. Always remember in the kitchen to look at everything you're doing. So this is good enough. So again, it's not very finely chopped. And like I normally say, if you've been watching me on Lunch Guide, usually if you're cutting your ginger or garlic, you can go ahead and just grate it. If you don't want to do the whole work of just cutting or chopping, go ahead and just grate it. It's a lot faster. So there we are. My meat is now nice and brown. You can see the little nice brown spots in the meat. Smells good too. And I haven't seasoned this, remember. So at this stage, I'm going to go ahead now and add my chopped vegetables, which is just my capsicums and my ginger and garlic and spring onions. So like I said, I always like to brown my meat just because it gives it a nice flavor. Though you could of course start off with your onions, caramelize those a little bit, then add your mince and then fry that all together and wait for the liquid to like dissolve. But I like doing it this way. So like I said, I'm going to be adding everything together here because I don't want everything to fully cook. And I'm going to just reduce my heat a little bit, not too much. Then we're going to go ahead and add our capsicums. I always like to quick color, and your ginger and garlic mixture. So everything is going in there. So nothing is really going to cook all the way down. Everything is still going to be a bit crunchy, and that's why I made my mince meat fast as well, so it could be fully cooked. And already it looks very colorful. You know me and color, I always like cooking with color. Yum. I already feel like I want to take a huge chunk out of this. I always love it when you make food and it already looks so nice and beautiful right before you're even done cooking it. You just know it's going to taste amazing. So we're going to go ahead and add our sauces. And the sauces we're using for that, actually I'm going to add the tomato paste, but the sauces we're using for that is a bit of teriyaki, just because I have it on hand. And I'll be adding a bit of black pepper. You know me and black pepper. But this is not traditional in most Asian cuisine. So the black pepper is just my own touch, just because I like black pepper. And then remember I mentioned, if you joined in from the beginning, that I was making an Asian inspired dish. And so what usually this is, it's the red curry paste from Thailand. So usually they call it a Thai red curry paste. And you can get this from the supermarkets. Just go out, again it comes in a container, so just go out and buy one. It's not, you don't have to make it at home, though you could if you wanted to, but it's just also easy if you just buy it. And what this usually has, again, is just the Thai inspired dishes. So ingredients, so usually to have a bit of ginger, a bit of garlic, a bit of lemongrass, so all those good spices. And of course the chili, because it is a Thai, like I've mentioned, red curry paste. So it does have some chili and a bit of a kick. So we're just going to give this a nice little stir. And I might start coughing soon, just because of the chili, but we'll see. So this is a dry mince because it's going into our lettuce cups, and I want it to be dry. We don't want to make your lettuce cups here soggy. So I'm just trying to mix this in there to make sure that the red curry paste combines well with the mince. And I'm going to give this a taste. As always, taste everything in the kitchen. And then because I'm also adding some sweetness, now what I'm adding here is some teriyaki sauce, which usually you don't have to if you're making like a Thai cuisine, but usually you add something like soy sauce, but I'm using teriyaki because it's going to add a bit of the sweetness, and it's going to kind of balance the heat from the sauce that are the curry, the red curry paste. So again, in the kitchen, it's always about balancing your flavors. So I'm just going to add some few dashes of my teriyaki sauce. Then I'm going to go ahead and give this a nice mix. Again, the colors look so lively. Then I'm going to give this a taste now that I've combined everything together. And then for our salad, we're going to just be adding the mince into our lettuce. So like I said earlier, this is a very simple dish to make. It doesn't require a lot of effort or work for that matter. So I'm just going to give this a nice taste and see what I might be missing. So for me, I'm going to add a little bit more chili. Again, this is optional. You don't have to add more chili, but I like to give my food a little bit of some heat here and there. So I'm just going to add a little bit and balance it out some more with the teriyaki. Now if you wanted to, you could have this with some rice instead of having it with like the lettuce like I'm doing it here. And if you wanted to have it dry, you could just go ahead and do that. So I've added more of the teriyaki just because I've added more of the chili, just so that it's not too spicy. And there we are. So to finish this off, I'm going to be finishing it off with some dhania or coriander, depending which part of the world you're from. And then I'm also going to be adding, now I tasted this earlier actually, and like I said, the salt I wasn't going to add it until I've tasted it. It doesn't need salt because the red curry paste has already some salt, so I'm not going to be adding any. And like I was saying earlier, I'm also going to be adding some spring onions, just finish off with the dhania as well. So once that's done, what we're going to go ahead and do now is just grate our carrots. This looks good. Smells amazing too. Sometimes I kind of always wish that you guys could smell the food with me as I'm making it, because it just smells so good and I just want to dig in. Like I just can't wait for everything to be completely complete. So what I'm going to do right now is just get my carrot, then I'm going to be grating this in a little bit. And then an extra touch that you could do is to get your lemon. Now you know I'm all about fresh food, so what I like to do is just get my lemon, give it a nice squeeze. And what this does, the rolling of the lemon just ensures that the lemon gets nice and soft so the juices can come out. So when you have a look, you notice that the oils are now on the skin, and you look at my hands, which just have a bit of oil. All that is from the lemon. So what that does, again, like I've said, just releases the flavors and the juices of the lemon, so it's easy for you to squeeze. And there we are. So you get a lot more juice from this. So this is just going to give some freshness, and you see how much juice I have from my hand just from doing that little trick. So there we are. So I'm just going to go ahead and pour this in there. So like I said, all this is for freshness. I'm just going to wipe my hands here and give this a nice mix. Yum. Then I'm going to give this a taste, just because now I've added the lemon juice. We're going to add a bit of our dhania. Remember I mentioned I'm going to be adding some dhania as well. And to finish off, I'm going to be finishing it off with some spring onions, which I said you don't have to really get them if you don't have them, but just because I'm making an Asian inspired dish, I like to just finish it off like they would. But you could just use whatever is easily available for you. So I'm going to go ahead and add some of my dhania. So like I said earlier, this does not take a lot of time. All you have to do is just brown your meat. The other vegetables that I've added in here, your capsicums, ginger, garlic, they don't take much cooking. It's more of like just ensuring that they're well combined with the food, so you're not fully cooking them down. You still want to see the vibrant colors. If you have a look, you can see the red from the capsicums, the yellow. So you just want to make sure it has that nice vibrant color going on. I'm going to give this a taste. I'm going to blow because I don't want to get burnt. So the freshness I was talking about from the lemon comes right through. It tastes so delicious. Like I said, I wish you guys could taste it, because I have those moments when you just know a dish just tastes amazing. So we're going to be going on a short break. In the meantime, when you guys are on break, what I'm going to be doing is just grating my carrots, so that when you come back, I'll be showing you how to plate your salad. Like I said, it's going to go into our lettuce cups and my red cabbage cup. That's what I'm calling it, the cup. So basically all you have to do is just take it off from the red cabbage, but I'll be showing you how to do that when you come back from the break. So I'm just going to go ahead and start off with my grating. So this is all I'm going to do, because this is going to go into our salad. And for the grating, all you want to do is just get your carrots nicely grated. So we'll be going on a short break, and I'll see you guys afterwards, where I'll have finished grating and we'll be ready to plate up our lettuce cups. See you! Welcome back to Lunch Guide. I'm your host and chef, Sheena Amario. Now if you're just tuning in today, I was taking you to Asia, and what the dish we're making today was actually an Asian beef lettuce cups. And what all that is just basically some mincemeat that's been fried up with some capsicums and onions. And when you came back from the break, what we were doing actually was grating some carrots. So you've seen I've already gone ahead and grated my carrots. And for the mincemeat that I've just mentioned, all I did is just fry it with some capsicum, some spring onions instead of our regular onions, as well as some ginger, garlic. And then I went ahead and added some red curry paste, which is Thailand based. And then I also added some teriyaki sauce just to give it some flavor. And you know I love my black pepper, so I dashed some in there. So to go ahead, I mentioned I was going to be showing you how I got these lovely little cups or bowls, which is what I'm using to plate my food. So you've gone ahead and grated your carrots. So just going to set those aside. And then you're going to get your lettuce, your red cabbage. So for the red cabbage, all you want to do, you can get this depending in which supermarket you're shopping at, but you can also get it from the markets. So all you have to do is just gently peel off the outside skin, just very gently. And then when you get to this part, break it off from the stem. So as you go, gently, then break it off from there. Then from that point, all you have to do is just invert it to bring it back, and voila, you have your nice little cute bowl or cup that you can use to plate your food. It just makes everything pop with color. So that's the same concept I've used here for my lettuce. So the red cabbage here is just a nice little touch. So I went ahead and got my lettuce. So the same way you get your lettuce when it's all nice and whole after you've washed it, what I like to do is just break off the inside stem, and then from there you just peel it off from the outside, and then what you get is the nice leaves from the lettuce. And again, all this can be used as plating tools, which is what I'm going to be using. Now to get started, I'm going to be mixing my lettuce, one with the red cabbage and the carrots, and then the other one is just the lettuce and the carrots, just to give it a bit more of some diversity. So I'm going to go ahead and just peel some more of my red cabbage here. This is the one that I'm just going to go ahead and just roughly chop it, just to give it a mix with my carrots. So you've seen how easy that is to do. So if you aren't going to chop this, you'll just plate it up like that. But since I'm just going to put them together, fold them in, and just give this a nice chop. So I'm going to be mixing this into my carrots, just to give my carrots some nice color, some diversity. We're going to mix this into a bowl, because I love having my food with a little bit of color. And then we're going to get the regular lettuce here. Now you could use cabbage if you wanted to. I'm just using lettuce just because I like lettuce. It's a lot fresher and crispier in taste, I find. But you could definitely just use our regular Kenyan white cabbage. So once you're done here, we're going to separate our mixture like I've done. And we're just going to season this with some of the sweet chili sauce. Remember I mentioned I had some sweet chili sauce earlier. That's what we're going to do. So get your bowl, separate some of that mixture. Just going to ignore those little bits that are falling, that are trying to run away from my board. and then mix that together. And then in this other board, we're just going to mix this together. This is just, again, to just give a contrast, just because I'm using both the red cabbage and the lettuce. I'm just going to give this some nice mix. I'm just using my hands here. So there we are. And then we're going to do the same thing for our other salad, a nice little mix. And then what I'm going to do, like I've mentioned, is just add a little bit of our sweet chili sauce. Now the sweet chili sauce here is Asian inspired. Remember I said I'm making an Asian inspired dish. So I always like to just go with the theme and just keep it that way. So I'm adding some nice sweet chili sauce to my mix. Remember I added some spice into my beef mince, so it does have a little bit of some spice. So the sweet chili here is just going to help balance that off. And then I'm going to go ahead and add some acidity, which is the lemon. So I'm just going to add a good amount of the lemon. This is just going to add some nice freshness to your food. Again, and some nice amount of lemon. I'll pick the piece that's just fallen in there. Sometimes your hands don't always capture everything. Yep, and that's it. So that's like the simplest dressing you've done, because all I've done is just use a store-bought sweet chili sauce, which you can find, and then go ahead and just mix. I'm just going to get out my seed here, because no one wants to bite into a seed, then it will become very bitter in taste. Then get your fork and give this a nice mix. Then we're going to do the same to our other salad. Give this a nice mix. Then I'm going to give this a taste. You kind of always want to taste everything in the kitchen, though I feel everything will be tasting as I want it to. Like I say, the sweet chili really lifts the food up, and the freshness from the lemon, you can't compete with that. So I'm not going to add anything else, as much as I am tempted to add black pepper, but I'm going to refrain. It's like, okay, calm down, no need to add the black pepper. So I'm going to go ahead now and just plate our food, just so it can look nice and pretty. And I'm going to be plating it on a board. Again, I'm just trying to go with the whole rustic feel here, just because I'm using some of the lettuce cups, then the red cabbage. So that's the main reason I'm using a board and not a plate. I'm just going to go ahead and turn my board, just so it's easy to work with. So what I want to do now is just get some of my red cabbage, and then I'm going to go ahead, and then this is for contrast, that's why I made the two salads. Go ahead and add some of this in here. And you see it already looks really pretty and really colorful. And as you know, I always love to cook with color. There we are. And then we're going to go ahead and add some of the mince. And then just so that you can see everything, we're going to again top it off with some more of the lettuce on the sides, the lettuce mix, just so you can see everything that's going on, like that. Like I say, we always eat with our eyes, and if everything looks as pretty as that does, I know you're dying to bite into it. So I'm going to go ahead now and get my lettuce. Remember I said I'm making lettuce cups, and the red cabbage here I just added it for color. So I'm going to go ahead and do the same concept you've seen, but now instead of using this salad, I'm going to use the other one. Again, I'm just trying to give this a contrast. I'm just going to go ahead and plate this. Then I'm going to cut off some of the leaves if you can't see all the way in. So if you'd like to balance it, so if you find that you cannot see what's all the way in, I'll just trim off a little bit, just so you can have a good view of what's going on in here. There we are. And then I'm going to go ahead now and add our mince. So a good amount of the mince. And the same thing, add some more on the exterior, just so you know what's happening inside. So I'm all about the color here. Lovely, beautiful colors. So there we are. Our lettuce cups are looking so cute and pretty. I'm just going to go ahead and add some more. Then remember I mentioned I had some spring onions, so I'm going to just finish off with those. also the nuts that we had earlier. If you do remember, we had some cashew nuts that we toasted, so I'm going to be finishing off with those as well. So just get a little bit of your spring onions. This is just again for the freshness. And just sprinkle this all around. So a few of these might go onto my board, that's okay. Just want to give it a little bit of some character. So you can just sprinkle some there. All this just adds character, just because I've decided to go the whole rustic route. So I just like to add character with whatever it is I'm plating. And then a few of your cashew. And voila. I feel like you're already dying to have the taste, like I am. Taste of our lovely lettuce cups. That looks so adorable. So that's it, guys. This was my Asian inspired dish, which I hope you really enjoyed cooking with me, because I know I did. The flavors look amazing, the flavors tasted amazing, and the food looks really good. But I just want to dive in and have a bite. But anyway, yes, so that was our Asian dish for today, which was our Asian beef lettuce cups. And it was very simple to make, as you saw. These are ingredients that you could find in your store, and you could find them in the market as well. If you can't find one of the other ingredients that I've used, like I always say, omit it, you don't have to use it. So this has been Lunch Guide. I have been your host and chef, Sheena Amario, and I do hope to interact with you guys on social media, Facebook, so be sure to follow us and we'll interact some more. But until then, see you. Bye!